This has been such a crazy time the last couple of weeks. We've had so much selling of Bitcoin recently. I want to show you where $20 billion have been sold of Bitcoin just in the last month. There's one entity, one group of sellers that have been selling $20 billion worth of Bitcoin. I'm going to tell you why it's going to end here soon. And I want to talk to you about the crazy opportunity moving forward for us as Bitcoin buyers. If you don't mind, hit subscribe, turn on the bell notification underneath the video if you want to see more information on what I'm doing, on what other really well in the know influencers are doing. There is a link down there to HGAccess where you can get information from myself along with 9 other influencers. We talk with companies all the time. We brainstorm about cryptocurrencies and we give access that you can't get anywhere else. There's also a link down there to Margex as well. In case you want to trade cryptocurrencies on leverage, you can trade using Margex. There's no KYC. It takes just a few minutes to set up. And it is a way to amplify your returns, especially if you want to focus on TA a little bit or you want just to get a slightly better return. If we do turn bullish, you can sign up with the link underneath the video, and they do give you a little bit of a bonus that can go towards some fees. So definitely check that out underneath. Now, this video is a little bit similar to my last video, but I want to put a different emphasis on it. I want to give you some new numbers. We know FTX has been selling a lot of Bitcoin. They've been forcing Grayscale to sell. Basically, the estate has forced $1 billion of GBTC to be sold. We know some people are worried about the Mt. Gox Bitcoin that's being sent out. But in my last video, I kind of uncovered how much selling has been done by miners. And I want to put some numbers behind it because I found this article talking about how Bitcoin miners were offloading 130 million Bitcoin in a day, sending reserves to the lowest point since May. And it showed that there have been, at this time, only about 1.83 million Bitcoin held by miners. Now, that's actually a significant amount when you think about it. That's nearly obviously, it's nearly 2 million Bitcoin. But honestly, I didn't know off the top of my head that 10% of the reserves were held by miners. Now, in this time period, there have been about 22,000 Bitcoin that has been mined over this 3.5 week period. And I found how much has been coming out. I mean, these withdrawals or these outflows to exchanges are absolutely nuts. These are by miners, and they have had almost 500,000 Bitcoin in outflows in the last 3.5 weeks. Since this article was published, we've seen it's like 477,000 Bitcoin flowing out to exchanges. Obviously, it's going to be sold if it goes to an exchange. A miner's not just going to put their Bitcoin on an exchange, right? They're selling it. So they've sold about 477,000 Bitcoin in 3.5 weeks, which if you want to put numbers behind it, that's almost $20 billion, about $19 billion if you sell it at 40,000, which honestly, some of it was sold above 40,000. Most of it was in the last 3.5 weeks. So we've had $20 billion worth of Bitcoin sold just by miners. Keep in mind, GBTC has sold maybe 60,000, 80,000, something like that, 60,000 or 80,000 Bitcoin. And miners have sold 6 times that. A lot of people aren't even talking about it, but that is the main seller. Now, both this and FTX are basically out of steam. Like FTX has sold all of their GBTC, which should decrease the amount of GBTC that's being sold overall here soon because they accounted for a third of the selling. Also, miners in general have brought down their total Bitcoin a lot. Like if I did my calculations right, they should have decreased their Bitcoin holdings by about 25%. As I've said, that makes sense for them to sell at some point ahead of the halving just to have more cushion because this is a very capital intensive business. But they have sold about 25% of their Bitcoin. And like anyone that holds a lot of a cryptocurrency, they don't want to crush the price. Like they could sell the other 1.3 million Bitcoin that they hold, but they don't want the price of Bitcoin to get down to $10,000 or $20,000. Then a lot of them won't even mine profitably. They basically just I think, capitulated a little bit. There's some minor capitulation. They wanted to get some money ahead of the halving, and they thought, okay, well, we're up at 48,000. We should sell now. And then we started to have a bit of a rally. They said, oh, we should sell now. Everyone's looking at FTX. Everyone's looking at GBTC. While we can sell 5 times, 10 times as much as them, and no one will really pay attention. But now people are paying attention. The fact is, the 7-day moving average is at 32,000 Bitcoin a day. Keep in mind, the amount of Bitcoin mined each day is at 900. So they're selling like 30 times what they make in a day overall as an industry in Bitcoin. So they're padding their wallets. They don't want to sell everything either because they don't want to miss on the upside. So I do think a majority of that selling is probably done here soon. And on the other side, we know that the ETFs have had net inflows. And if GBTC stops selling so much, there's a likelihood we will continue to see the other side, the other ETFs continue to see inflows overall because of the fact that more and more entities will hear about these being approved and will want exposure, and they'll continue to buy. So once some of the selling is dried up, well, the price probably will appreciate. We also know the Fed is likely to lower rates throughout the year. FASB rules have changed as well, allowing some people to actually record the true value of their cryptocurrency each quarter instead of just writing off losses. And this lends so many more companies to be able to buy Bitcoin. Like, take a look at this. This is the free cash flow in millions of just one company. I'll tell you the company in a second, but they cash flow $59 billion in 1 year. It's a tech company. There are tech companies out there that are already buying Bitcoin that are going to want to buy Bitcoin now that accounting rules have changed, now that the SEC has given a nod of approval towards Bitcoin. So I would not be surprised if there's just an insane amount of buying pressure. I mean, think about this. We had the selling pressure. We had billions and billions of dollars of Bitcoin sold. Like, literally, just the miners account for $20 billion of net selling over the last month, less than a month, and yet the price has gone down $10,000. Like, the buyers are pretty strong, and if you were a whale that wanted to put in a lot of money into Bitcoin, like, this is probably your best case scenario, that there's some bit of FUD ahead of the Bitcoin halving, some bit of selling so that you can get in. And honestly, even with all the selling in the last 30 days, Bitcoin's down 10%. It is very resilient right now. Even some alts like Ethereum down 4%. That's nuts. So I'm not scared. I'm not worried. I'm buying. I'm excited about this. I will continue to accumulate. I realize that this was somewhat similar to my last video, but I want to show you, like, the selling should be done at some point in the future. I can't tell you exactly when it is. Maybe the miners go out and sell every single Bitcoin they have. I don't think that's likely. I don't. But I don't know exactly when it will end. But there is an end in sight. And there is unlimited demand and buying for Bitcoin in sight as well. So just keep your head on straight. I want to give you a little bit more of a pep talk video. I do think the price of Bitcoin is going to get absolutely nuts faster than you think. We can move up $4,000, $5,000 for one Bitcoin within a day or two. We've seen that in the past. If we were at, instead of 39.2, if we were just at 43.2, people would be happy. That's where we were just a few days ago. So don't be surprised if that happens faster than you think. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I will see you in the next video. Again, you can check out HGAccess, and you can also check out Margex underneath the video.